Hi students, very good morning. I hope that you have written exam well. Right, in this lecture we'll be going regarding the introduction of the solid state. Okay, so I have not written, this is already written notes here. If it is possible from tomorrow I'll be writing a notes so that we'll be going across to that. This is only the introduction class with respect to solid state, right? So what does this state say? See, simply you can state. This is one sort of state. Generally, if you go for the physical states, in chemistry you will be saying solid state, liquid state, as well as the gaseous state. So among three states of matter, so matter will be existing in these states, right? Among the three states of matter, solid state is said to be the condensed state. Condensed means all the molecules are very closer together. So if you go with respect to some properties of solid, already from your 8th standard you will be hearing all this. So it possesses definite shape. When you compare with liquids as well as gases, solids will be having definite shape, they will be having definite mass as well as volume. Okay, mass is constant even though it is a solid, liquid or gas. Volume is also the same thing, but shape, if you go for the shape, it is possessed only by the solids only, right? So because of strong nuclear forces, so strong intermolecular forces, the particles are arranged very close together. So in solid state, all the particles will be very closer together. Means they will be very close to each other, so that there will be force of attraction. The more force of attraction will be present between the molecules of the solids, so that they will be rigid in structure. Means they will be rigid, very hard and incompressible. You can't compress them even though if you apply how much amount of force also, right? Among three states of matter, solid states possess minimum amount of energy, so less amount of energy will be present. Okay, if among the molecules, so suppose if more amount of energy is present among the molecules, then we'll call it as gaseous state, right? If less amount of energy is present among the molecules, okay, so that they will be having the solid state. And solids are having high density. Density means mass by volume. In a given volume, the more amount of the more number of particles will be present. See, solid density is nothing but mass by volume. So in a given volume, how much mass is present? If you compare with solids, liquids and gases, solids will be having higher density, because in given volume, more the number of particles will be present, so more volume will be present. And if you classify the solids based on their arrangement, so three-dimensional arrangement, okay, you will be having length, breadth as well as the height. Based on the type of the arrangement of the solids, solids can be categorized into two types. One is crystalline solids and another one is amorphous solids, right? Crystalline solids, those solids where the particles are arranged in an orderly manner, so one after the other. Suppose if it is plus, it is minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, so that they will be arranged in a particular manner. Suppose if you want the example for crystalline substance, our sugar, whatever we will be taking in our home, right? Sugar is an example for crystalline one. So the particles are arranged in a particular manner. If you go for the amorphous solids, so the particles are arranged in a irregular manner. There will be no definite pattern. Plus and minus, there will be again plus, again minus, 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 again plus, 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 like that. So there will not be any particular type of manner in the amorphous solids. Suppose if you go for amorphous solids, example is something like our powder, Pond's powder, whatever you'll be seeing in your homes. Like you can go for glass, rubber, plastic. All these are the examples. For amorphous substances, glass, rubber, plastic are examples. For crystalline substances, NaCl as well as the quartz, right? Crystalline substance, they will be having sharp melting point. Sharp melting point means, suppose if you take one substance, if you heat it, okay, it is in solid state. If you heat it at what particular temperature, it should get converted into liquid, right? So if I assume one substance, let me take iron, okay, it is a crystalline one. If I heat it in a strong temperature, it gets at 2000 degrees, it gets melted. So whenever the temperature reaches 2000 degrees, it gets melted into liquid states, okay? So at 2000, whenever it reaches, it gets melted. But if you go for the amorphous one, they will not be having sharp melting point. Means, suppose if I take one substance, it has having a melting point from 100 to 105. It starts melting at 100 degrees and completes at 105. So it is some amount of substance gets melted at 100 degrees, some amount at 101, some amount at 102, some amount of substance at 105. Okay, so it has some range of temperature. It doesn't have any sharp melting point. For crystalline substance, you will be having sharp melting point. For amorphous substance, there will be no sharp melting point. There will be a range of melting point or range of temperature. Okay. Next, the order of arrangement of the particles is observed up to a long distance. Okay, plus minus plus minus plus minus. If you see in that particular order, the order will be very long. Means it continues to a very large extent. So these are called as long range order molecules. So in crystalline substance, the order is very long range. Suppose if you go for the amorphous substances, in amorphous substances, the order of the molecules is observed only up to short range. Only up to a short range they will be in order. They will not be for a long range. So these are called as short range distanced, which is called as short range order. So again I am repeating, these are arranged in order manner, these are in irregular manner. Crystalline substance having sharp melting point. Amorphous substance do not have sharp melting point, they have a range of melting point. If you go for crystalline substances, those are orderly arrangement of particles up to certain distance. So these are called as long range order molecules. If you go with respect to the amorphous substance, those are called as short range amorphous molecules. And if you go for the property, like crystalline substances, okay, crystalline solids, these are anisotropic in nature. What is mean by anisotropic? If you go for amorphous substance, these are isotropic. Okay, getting me? So what is mean by anisotropic? Anisotropic means that is the property having different properties in different direction. If a crystal, if you take in this, if you see in this direction, A and A is present. Okay. If you see in this direction, B and B are present. So in this direction among A and A, suppose if you talk density, it will be different in this direction. In this direction, it will be different. Suppose if I take in the slant direction, this direction. So in this direction, the property will be different. Means in different directions, the property, one property, suppose if I take refractive index, in this direction one value, in this direction refractive index one value, in this cross direction one value. So in any property, any substance or any crystalline substance which is showing different values of the same property in different directions of the same crystal are called as anisotropic. So same crystals, you are talking with respect to refractive index in different directions. One is x-axis, one is y-axis, one is z-axis, some angle. If you take in one direction, it shows different values for the same property. Refractive index only you are talking, but for the same crystal, the same property refractive index in different directions, it is showing different values. Then that property, it is called as anisotropic. So this anisotropic is shown by crystalline solid. So any substance which shows different properties, different values of same property in different directions, it is called as anisotropic. Amorphous substance, it is isotropic because it is only a short range order. If you take in one direction, it shows the same value. In other direction also, it shows the same value. So the same property, same value in all the directions. It is called as amorphous substance. This property, isotropic property, is showed by amorphous. And crystalline solids are called as true solids, whereas amorphous solids are called as pseudo solids or supercooled liquids. If you go on cooling on liquid, it becomes a solid, right? So these are called as supercooled liquids or pseudo solids. Pseudo means false. And crystalline substance, these are the true solids. Means original solid means it is a crystalline solid. So it is symmetric. You will be having some symmetry points. Okay, something like point symmetry, inversion symmetry, rotational symmetry. Means if you rotate by some degrees, you should get the same structure as it is original. Okay, then that is called as rotational symmetry. So they will be having some symmetric properties with respect to crystalline solids, but with respect to amorphous substances, you doesn't have any symmetry, right? If you categorize still more into the detail, types of crystalline solids. Now basic types of solids based on the arrangement you have classified. One is crystalline, other is amorphous. Now based on the crystalline solids, on crystalline solids only we are categorizing. So crystalline solids can be again categorized into four types. One is ionic solid, metallic solid, covalent solid, as well as molecular solids. These are the four types. So suppose if you go for the first condition, that is ionic solids, means in ionic solids there is conductivity. So ionic solids generally they will dissociate into plus and minus, cation and anion. They conduct electricity. Okay. Whenever they dissociate in the molten state or in the fused state. Okay. So ionic solids are those solids, they do not conduct electricity in the solid state. They conduct electricity in the molten state or fused state. What is meant by molten state? Already we have learned in electrochemistry. Without adding water, you convert that particular type of substance into the liquid state. In molten state or in the fused state, these ionic solids are very good conductors of the electricity. So these are insulators in the solid state, but conductors in the liquid state, that is aqueous state or in molten state. So example NaCl as well as KCl. Suppose if you go for metallic, metals can be considered the collection of positive ions in the sea of free and mobile electrons. Okay. Metals, see, you will be having iron. If you take iron, what happens? It will be in the Fe+2 form. So you will be having metals are considered as collection of positive charges. If all the positive charges are present and surroundingly there will be some sea of electrons, sea of free or mobile electrons. Those are called as metallic solids. These free electrons are responsible for the high conductivity of the metal. So for the conductivity, you require electrons, right? Electrons will be moving from one place to another place. So conductivity can be done either by electrons or with the motion of the ions also. Okay, according to the metal C model, you have only this thing. According to metal C model, it is the metal is nothing but a collection of positive charges. Surrounding it, there will be electrons. Those are called as sea of electrons or ocean of electrons. Those solids are called as metallic solids. These are very high conductors of electricity. Okay. Next, it is covalent. Okay. In these solids, atoms are arranged by covalent bonds. So in this type of solids, covalent solids, one atom, cation, is attached to the anion by the covalent bond. Among covalent solid, graphite is the conductor of electricity due to sp2 hybridization. Generally, covalent substances, there are some insulators, some conductors. Suppose if you take graphite, whatever that has come in your first year, okay, graphite is a very good conductor of the electricity, but it is having covalent bond only. But if you go for the diamond, there is no free electron, there will be no conduction of electricity, so it's a very bad conductor of electricity, right? So in covalent, you will be having insulators as well as the conductors. Silicon carbide is also one of the example. Once you open your material, in that you can classify all the things, okay? Molecular solids. See, molecular solids, again you can classify this into three types. Okay, molecules or constituent particles. In molecular solids, you will be having molecule as the particle. Okay, molecular is the major thing. In that, you can classify that into again three types, right? What are those types? Means one is polar molecular solids. Means you should be having plus and minus. Dipole interaction should be present between the molecules. Suppose if I take HCl, H plus Cl minus, but the bond is not broken. That is molecular only. One more molecule will be present. This is one HCl. Another one more HCl. See, I am drawing structure here, HCl, here HCl. So this is plus, this is minus, this is plus and minus. See, one molecule is having attractions over the other molecule, right? So this is dipole, this is dipole. Dipole interactions are present in between the, this is one molecule, one molecule. See, one molecule, dipole is present, dipole interactions between the, this is one molecule, this is one molecule, between the molecules. So that type of molecules are called as polar molecular solids. If you go for non-polar, so already in first year you have learned that London forces or dispersion forces, these will be present between molecules of non-polar. Suppose if you take H2, what is H2? It is non-polar. So one H2 molecule, it attracts another H2 molecules by one type of force. That force is called as London force or dispersion force. London dispersion forces or van der Waals forces, right? This is non-polar because it doesn't have any charge here. Here also non-polar. So the force of attraction between non-polar molecule. Okay. Those are called as London forces or van der Waals forces. You can see in the non-polar molecules. These are called as non-polar molecular solids, right? Next, hydrogen bonded molecular solids. See, hydrogen bond is present between the molecules. Suppose hydrogen bond should be present with, there should be one hydrogen atom definitely, and another should be a electronegative one. This one may be any one. It may be oxygen or nitrogen or fluorine. So if this is present, there should be one more molecule like H as well as E. Okay, this one also may be anything, oxygen or nitrogen or fluorine. So among these two, they develops one type of bond. See, hydrogen as well as electronegative atom. This electronegative atom may be any one among these three. So whatever the force that has been developed here, it is called as hydrogen bonding molecular solids. It may be intermolecular or intramolecular. Already in chemical bonding you have learned this. Right? These are the classifications. So based on the arrangement, one is crystalline, one is amorphous. Next, among the crystalline solids, you can classify them into four types. One is ionic, metallic, covalent and molecular solids. Again, molecular solids can be characterized as polar molecular, non-polar molecular, hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Right, students? This is the basic introduction for the solid state. From tomorrow, we will be going detail into the crystal lattice structure. Okay? Have a nice day. Bye-bye.